Welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of Richardson Plano Networkers, today called Stay Connected and Thrive. Our guest today is, welcome back for the second time, Bobbie Maloy. Our topic today is 5 email secrets to increase deliverability and boost sales. During today's workshop, everybody here will discover the secrets used by email marketers to avoid the nasty spam folder, get out of the promotions tab, and increase engagement with your email list. This talk helps you see how easy it is to turn your email list into your number 2 revenue generating system. Bobbie Maloy is the founder of Conversion Hacker, and she'll talk a little bit about that. She started her career as a computer scientist, and her fascination with data and what makes things tick transferred nicely into digital marketing. Since 2012, Bobbie has worked on a wide range of products from health and beauty to online courses and everything in between. She helps her clients increase revenue by 53% or more and has several 6-figure digital product launches under her belt. When not geeking out about psychology, persuasion, and copy, Bobbie can be seen flying through the skies as a private pilot or spending time with her family, not our family. Please join with me in welcoming Bobbie Maloy.
All right. First of all, thank you for having me back. Now, I like to do things a little bit interactive. So the first question that I have is by show of hands, how many people have an email list for their business? And how many people actually use that email to attempt to generate business and or keep their people informed? Right? And how many people have no idea what an email list is and they don't really know what to do with it, even if they had one? Okay, well, that's all right. It's kind of good to have at least a little bit of understanding. So there's a lot of people will tell you email is dead. Don't do that. Don't email people. It's a waste of time. However, I've made more than $11 million for both myself and all of my clients through email alone over the years. So email is not dead. Email just has to be done right. And so what I'm going to share with you today is I'm going to try and get through all 5 of these if I can within the time period that I have, but I'm going to share with you 5 secrets that I've used for myself and clients to generate, like I said, more than $11 million in sales through email. And that's trackable and traceable. And it's not just, I wrote an email, sales went up and I didn't know what happened. Right. And so that's really kind of the important part there. So we're going to start with really the big one is with most businesses, when they send out an email, they're not entirely sure where it lands, right? This whole thing of deliverability. Oh, the deliverability isn't good, or my deliverability isn't very high. I'm going to kind of just squash a misconception on what the word deliverability actually means. What deliverability means is you send an email, it goes through the magic of the internet, and it shows up and connects to the other person's inbox. If that happens, deliverability is good. Deliverability happened, okay? What happens after that point, is what most people are actually concerned with. And so a lot of people don't understand deliverability is not the problem. It's where it ends up afterwards, whether that's the spam folder, whether that's the inbox, whether that's Gmail's promotions tab, or the social update, or any other types of tabs that Gmail has. And Gmail's not the only player in the space, but they certainly are the largest player in the space of email. So, excuse me. So does anybody here know and are 100% certain that their emails, when they send them, show up in the inbox of their prospects or customers? Can you say with 100% certainty that your emails show up in the inbox versus the promotions tab or the spam folder? Awesome. We've got one who can say with 100% certainty. And you want to know what? That's amazing. All right. And the reason that that's amazing is because even if you know what you're doing, there are times where an email you'll send will show up in like the randomest of places according to what, the algorithms are doing. So the number one thing that we want to do as a business is be fairly certain, even if not 100% certain, that our emails are showing up where people actually see them. you can get a 20% increase in open rate alone by making sure that you don't show up in the promotions folder, but you show up in the inbox, the actual inbox of it. And it is a massive decrease and a massive hit to the reputation of your email if you show up in the spam folder. So what I'm going to show you today is a stupid simple way to check your email and where it shows up before you even send it out to the masses of people. Now, this does matter more when you're dealing with mass marketing emails. So if you send out a broadcast email to multiple emails, this will work better than if you're doing one-to-one communications all the time. However, in order to make email truly profitable and really valuable for you, it's that one-to-many reach that is super exciting when it comes to email. So in order to check and test where your emails go, this is the number one secret that I have to make sure that you get out of the promotions tab or even the spam folder, is you create 3 emails. Okay, you can do this in Gmail. You can create three Gmail addresses. One is designed to always open up your emails and always click on everything that you put in your emails. One is designed to only open the email but never actually interact with it. And then one is designed to never open your emails. And the reason you create these is because those are the 3 different types of engagement that your end user is going to have. And so you want to simulate what's going on with those users based on what your email is doing. So you write the email and then you send it to these 3 emails in its own little group, and it will show up in wherever it's going to for Gmail's deliverability. All right. So you always test with the one that always does the engagement. So you send your test email before you do it, you open it and you engage with it with that one email. Because a lot of times the first iteration of your email is going to show up in the promotions or the spam folder, especially if you use things like, here's the offer that I have to you, here's a sale that we're doing. Any of those types of words are going to trigger the promotions tab. And the question that a lot of people ask is why? Well, the promotions tab is designed exactly for that, a promotion coming from a business. Gmail automatically assumes that most business emails are going to be promotion emails. You actually have to fight that as the email that when you send the email. So when you use things like offer, when you use things like a price that you put into an email, when you use things like a percentage off, or the word discount, or any of those types of things, or you have a massive amount of graphics in your email, you will trigger the fact that you are a promotional email sent by a business. And the algorithm is going to go, oh my gosh, this is a promotion. Do you have a question?
Yeah. So are you talking about what's in the subject line, or are you talking about what's in the body of the email?
Yes. I'm talking about both, because their algorithm will parse that information even in the body of the email to make an assumption on where your email needs to be delivered. Okay. And I've changed as little as one word in an email to get myself out of the promotions tab and into the inbox. So it absolutely can happen. Yes. Okay, so now that we're dealing with this understanding, so a lot of it is just understanding the desire of Gmail, and that is to keep engagement high with their emails, to keep the user experience what it needs to be, and to make sure that people stay on their platform. It's a lot like Facebook, right? They want people to continue to stay on their platform. They want people to continue using email. And if their inboxes are inundated with a bunch of emails that are not read, not opened, deleted all the time, they hit the unsubscribe link, then that user experience goes down. So that's how we test. Number one, if we first start with, we write our email, we send out this test email, we want to know where it goes. Okay. From there, it's just changing a couple of things. The first place that I would change, depending on where it goes in the promotion, in the promotions tab or the inbox tab, is I would open it up and see how many times you use the word like free, or how many times you use the word sale or offer or promotion, or any of those words that mean, oh my gosh, what I'm offering, what I'm giving to you and sending to you is a promotion. That's the first thing I would check. And if you have a lot of them, see if you can remove a couple of those words from your email, because sometimes it's a ratio. You know, I've had emails that have gone out with the word free 3 times in it, and it would go into the inbox. But if I hit that 4th free word, you know, 4th free, it goes directly into the promotions. I remove that free, it goes back into the inbox. And so they do have a ratio, but it's not a hard and fast rule. And that's, unfortunately, I can't tell you what that rule is, other than it's there because, I mean, Gmail doesn't decide to open up their algorithms for public consumption, and I don't think they should. We have to test it. And that's why having those 3 emails, and you start with the one that has the most engagement, because you don't want to pre-train Gmail that your emails aren't opened when you send them. So I know that's a pretty complex topic in order to start with, but it really is the #1 tool and way that you can be with fair certainty where your emails are going to land is you test them. There are some websites where you can send test emails to, and it will tell you the same thing if you don't want to actually create your own emails and test them. And I will get a couple of them and make sure that they go out to the group afterwards. I know I have them somewhere in my system, and I just got to go find them. I don't use that because it's not as accurate as you doing the real thing. So the hardest thing to do is when you get stuck in the spam folder is to get out of the spam folder. If you're stuck in spam, there's a lot of steps you need to do to try and get yourself out of there. So if you're not sure where your emails are landing, actually send test emails to make sure that you have a fair understanding on where they do land. Okay, so that's secret #1. Secret #2 is a lot more about some of the things that you can do inside the email. And this is all about how to engage and motivate your readers to actually take action and open up the emails. This is where there are 2 parts of an email that are important for you to really dial in to increase open rates. And that is the subject line and the preview that comes after the subject line. And it doesn't matter whether or not you have, you know, whether you're on on a mobile device or you're on the computer or whatever email platform you have, there is always a subject line and at least a little bit of the preview that is designed to, you know, for people to go, okay, this is the email, who it's from, what it's about, and then a little preview into it. Okay, those are all 3 areas on where you can, focus on really engaging your audience. Okay. Yes, the answer to that question. So I had a question that said, are these tests only applicable to Gmail addresses? Yes, they are. Gmail owns like 70% of the market. And so it is the #1 thing that you really want to be testing for. If it goes into Gmail's inbox instead of the promotions, you can be almost guaranteed that it'll hit Yahoo's main inbox and everything else like that because they are such a large player. Okay, so back onto subject lines. There, you can change your from name. I don't know if anybody's played around with and or has that ability based on their system. So if you've ever gotten an email from like your stomach, right? That's the from name that works for people, you know, so it could be your investments, your future is, you know, your future. It could be your wallet, you know, those are all different financial from names that you can use if you're in that industry. You know, that actually works. It's not a long-term strategy, nor is it a do it all the time, but it's a great way to generate intrigue on that from name. And it's a great way to use a little bit of marketing and to get them to go, oh, okay. So instead of being your name at company name or the company name or just your name in general, if you have a personal relationship with the people that you're emailing, changing your from name is not it's not recommended because people are like, what in the world is this? Unless you're just trying to open it and then they're like, oh, that was really cute. But again, I wouldn't do it on a permanent basis. So that's one of them. The subject line is that bolded part of the email, and it's what really generates their interest. This is where real copywriting comes into play. So if you sit there and you give them the most boring title that says, you know, something along the lines of the toilet is overflowing, and they're like, what in the world is going on there? And that's your subject line. You might get an intrigue click, but you're not really going to get a bunch of people to open the emails. How to do X is a great subject line. that gets people's interest. The secrets to any of that type of stuff that generates that intrigue and makes them go, ooh, I want to know more. Now, I have a list of 350 subject lines that I've used over the years that I've either pulled from because it's generated my intrigue, or I've used and tweaked depending on what industry I'm writing for, that helps to go, oh, this is a subject line that is engaging. People like numbers. So the 7 steps to do X, whatever your X is. Anything that says you're going to give them value and it's not necessarily a sales email. And I'll get into the difference between your content emails versus your sales emails and another one of the secrets a little bit further along. But that subject line is the second area where you really have the opportunity to draw them in from a sales perspective or intrigue, right? The preview. How many people have looked at their inboxes and have seen the preview go, / exclamation point, to view this in your browser, do here, right? It's wasted space that comes across and says, this is a marketing email, or it's an email from a company, because who sends an email that starts with those types of crazy characters and view this email in your browser? All right. Most inboxes or most platforms will allow you to set that preview text. And that way you can continue the conversation from the subject line. You've got about 72 to 120 characters in your subject line. And the preview text is it's different depending on what device you're on. And so continue that conversation. So if you have like the 7 steps to securing your financial future is your subject line, you can have a little bit of preview being, you won't believe what number 4 is. You generate and continue that interest to get them to open up the email. And that's really what it comes down to, is how do you position them in as best a way as possible to get them to open. Okay, step number 1, it's where 80% of any marketing budget goes, is that subject line or headline. Because if your prospects and your customers don't read it and open the email, or they don't read your headline and read the rest of the newsletter or whatever it is that you're sending, then the rest of it doesn't matter. You can have $1 million copy in the body of the email, but if you can't get their attention enough to open up that email, it's useless. And so 80% of my time as a copywriter and 80% of the marketing budget really goes to that first bit to get and grab their attention. Okay. The standard for open rates in industries varies, but it's really pitiful across the board, right? The average email open rates for marketing emails is usually 15% or less. Okay. Some industries it's higher, in a lot of industries it's lower. And that 15% means that 85% of the people that are on your list are not opening your emails. Now, most often this can be done, there's a lot of marketers that will tell you that, oh, attention spans are short, right? How many times have you heard a marketer say that we have the attention span of a goldfish? It's 8 seconds or less, right? And in the digital age now, it's down to 3 seconds. We're getting even worse. All right, I'm going to call BS on that. The reason is movies are getting longer over time. So you cannot tell me that attention spans are getting shorter. In fact, what's happening is BS meters are getting better. Right? So we're looking at something and we're like, oh, I don't really want to read this right now because it's not relevant to me. It's not pertinent to me. And it's just going to try and sell me something. So our BS meters are getting better. Our attention spans are not getting shorter. The other problem that you have is if they're not opening up your emails, you're boring because they have something better to do than read your email. Don't be boring, be intriguing, be exciting, be something that they actually want to have in their inbox. And a lot of times that's where, secret number 3 is about adding personality into your emails. If you send boring corporate emails that sound like it was written by a computer for somebody who is got nothing better to do with their time than to read your email, that's a problem, right? It doesn't matter whether you work in a corporate environment and you work for a big box firm, or you're the person on the street who just started up their weed whacking business. It's you and your personality that people do business with, not a company and a corporation. So if you sound boring and corporate, they don't understand that you are different. Now, how do you inject personality into different emails? Well, a lot of times down here in Texas, we say y'all. All right. It's okay to put y'all in your emails. All right. It's okay to use colloquialisms as long as they're relevant to your entire party. Right. So if you were to say, hey, I had a soda the other day, depending on where you are in the country, that means varying different things. Some places it's a Coke, some places it's soda pop. So make sure that your colloquialisms work depending on what your audience is, but don't be afraid to throw them in there. The more your personality shines, the more they go, I want to do business with that person, because we do business people to people. I don't care whether you're business to business or not. People are the ones that do business. So make sure your personality shines. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm having a heck of a day. COVID is sucking today and my life is not really doing amazing. Here's how I'm working to get through that. Contact me if you're also struggling with these things. It works no matter what you're selling, as long as you can make that connection. Right? So the more personality you throw into emails, the more likely people are like, oh my God, I really want to talk, I want to read what's coming on from this person. Okay. Let's see, what else do we got? So I've talked about secret number 1 being getting out of the inbox. I've talked about secret number 2 and how to engage and motivate your readers. Oh, the other thing is ask your people to actually do an action. Okay. So that's another way that you can motivate your readers to take an action. And it could be click here to go get this free report. It could be click here to get more information. It could be pick up the phone and call me. It could be, hey, just reply to this email and let me know you got it, right? Ask them to take an action, but be direct in what you want them to take and have one action per email. Anytime that you have, I've seen emails that are like, to do this, click over here, to get this information, click over here, and to do all of this. It causes a problem because we have squirrel syndrome and I'm really bad at it, right? So I get an email that tells me tells me to do 5 different things. I'm lost at one point in time. I get in and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm going off to the next thing. So keep your emails very focused on one subject only. It helps to focus your readers on what it is that they need and they want. But give them an action in almost every email, even if it's click here for more information. PS, would you like to have a one-on-one? Here's how you contact me. There's a lot of different ways to give them very specific actions in their emails. And it helps to increase engagement because you've asked them. One of my favorite PSs is asking a question or even saying something along the lines of, what's your biggest struggle? I reply to everybody, go on and tell me, do it, I dare you. I've gotten more responses that say, I'm replying to your email because you dared me to, than anything else. And what that does is, first of all, it opens up a conversation. Once I've gotten them out of the mass marketing email, and now I've got an individual conversation, I can continue to develop that relationship even deeper. The other thing that it does is, from the mailing perspective, is they've generated an action back towards me. And that is, the algorithms love that because there's interaction there. Okay, so it does 2 things to get them to reply. It's also the easiest way, the easiest, lowest cost thing that you can get your people to do through email is to just simply reply with their biggest question, their biggest whatever it is, or, hey, I'd like to know more. If you can get them to reply to your email, it helps the algorithms. Okay. All right, secret number 4, because I'm running low on time here. Secret number 4 is how to become a discount brand in 10 emails or less. Who here wants to become a discount brand? I kind of figured not. Who here has a problem that they think that is getting them into being the discount brand? All right, awesome. At least nobody thinks they have the problem. Here's the fastest way to get yourself into being a discount brand. And by the way, how to solve this. If every email you send out has in the subject line 20% off today, or here's your discount, or here's a way to save, $30 this month. If every email you send out has a promotion of some sort in the subject line, or even in the preview, congratulations, you've now become the Walmart of your industry. Right? You have preconditioned people to expect or wait for the emails that you send out that are promotional and therefore discounted. You've now become a discount brand. I don't care how many times you go, well, this is only available for 10 days or whatever your marketing is. If you send that out and it's very understandable in that subject line, you have now become a discount brand. The way to get around that is to give them a different subject line that is intrigue and give them value before you start talking about the promotion. Tell them a story on why, why you're offering it. I like because today ends in Y, right? That's been a subject line that works really well for me at times in different industries. And so they're like, well, what does that mean? They get in, I tell them a story about a lot of times when I was back in the Marines, we ran 10 miles because the day ended in Y. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that explains a lot on the Marine Corps mentality. Right. But I would tell them a story about this and I'm like, well, I'm going to continue that. And here's, I'm offering this discount today because today ends in Y. And that's a great way to link the two of them together. But I don't put the sale or the percentage or any of that type of stuff in the subject line, because if you do that too consistently, you've become a discount brand. Make sure you have, I want to say the general rule of thumb is about 4 regular email subject lines to 1 salesy type promotion type subject line. And that way you don't get yourself stuck into this. They're waiting for my sales emails, or they're avoiding my sales emails, which is another one that will happen. Okay. If you do find that that's what's happening, or you are stuck in that, or God forbid you get the corporate emails that you have to send out and they're horrible, segment those people off on your list and only send to them, in specific periods of time, so it doesn't kill your deliverability and it doesn't kill what you have with the rest of your list. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap up here with secret number 5, which is the money is in the structure. And what that means is have a plan when sending out your emails. If you haphazardly send out your emails, you don't condition your audience to be ready for your emails. If you only send out an email once a month, but your audience knows exactly when you send out that email, that's fine. But if you send it out one day and then you wait for 3 and then you send out another one and then you wait for 2 months and you send out another one, when you're inconsistent like that in your emails, people don't expect them. And if they don't expect them, when they come, they're like, oh, I can wait for this because it's not important to me. All right. So the money is in the consistency. I'm not telling you have to do them every day or every other day or even 4 or 5 times a day. Like some people, I get their emails, which is insane, but be consistent and tell your audience when you're going to send them. I have an email list that has that I send out Bobbie's Bites every Wednesday. So every week on Wednesday, anybody that joins my list will get a little email based on what it is that I've seen in marketing, what are the different things that I've tried in copy, how's it worked, how's it failed, all that different type of stuff. And it, they know about it. I'm like, next Wednesday we might, we'll talk about this, but I prep the audience to know what it is to expect, because then they go, ooh, I really want to know about that. Let me make sure that I'm paying attention. Okay. We've already talked about don't always sending sales emails. Send them information interspersed with your sales emails. It is okay to send sales emails. People are on your list and they want to hear from you because they're actually interested in your product. So don't be afraid to send them sales emails. Just make sure that's not the only thing that you're sending them. Information is key. Getting your people to know, like, and trust you happens by providing value and providing information in your emails instead of just hitting them over the head with sales emails. I know there's a lot of corporate that are like, there's corporate companies that say, here's the template that you have to use, and you have to always mention the sales and the product or whatever it is. And that's fine if that's what corporate says you have to do. I'm not saying go against what corporate policies are, but see if you can interject some personality and some actual value into those emails as well, instead of just hammering your list over and over and over again with sales emails. Now, templates. I'm going to talk about template emails. And the reason I'm going to do this is because at the end, I'm going to offer you guys the ability to get some free template emails from me. So template emails are great to get you started and to kind of spark creativity. The problem with template emails is there may be hundreds of them that look exactly, people are using these exact templates exactly the way that they were written. And if Gmail notices that an email coming through if an email coming through is the same as another email and another email and another email, it'll kill your deliverability because you're not unique, you're not different. So take the template, take template emails and adjust them. Don't just use them exactly word for word. Add in a little bit of personality, add in a little bit of story into the email, take some of the things out that are in there, but use templates for what they're meant for. It's not to be the be all, end all, absolute everything, and you only just do the fill in the blank. Make it and adjust it for you and your industry. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps up. I think I've hit through all 5 email secrets that we go through. And so I do want to offer a very quick offer, but before I wrap this up for questions or comments at the end, if you are interested in joining my email list, what I'm going to do is give you the opportunity to download 15 email templates for absolutely free. It will get you onto my email list. It will also give you the 15 free email templates that I've used to make millions of dollars across different industries. Okay. Now, again, we talked about using templates, so don't just use them word for word, filling in the blanks, but use them as creativity and spark. Okay. And to do that, I'm going to drop in the chat here. Let me go to everyone. If you go to this link, conversionhacker.com/email-templates, this will get you the download of email templates, and it will also join you to my list. Now, I am a marketer, so if you continue through that funnel, you're going to get offered the opportunity to pay me money for amazing bonuses and products that I have available for you, but you can do that through that list. So any questions that you guys have about emails? I know that it's a broad topic, and definitely there are different ways in order for you to basically really increase your bottom line when you start working through all of them. All right, was it
Hey,
Lloyd?
Lloyd, actually, I'll call on folks.
Okay,
When I
sure.
see your mic open. So Lloyd, I saw your mic open first. So go ahead. Do you have a question?
Yeah, Bobbie, thanks for the information. Really good. Come down on email services like MailChimp, good thing to do, like mail merge and Outlook. That
So,
making sense?
You were cutting out a little bit during the question. So what I think I heard was, does it matter which email service you use? Is that the question?
Well, I was wanting to really see where you come down on like MailChimp and other email services.
So I have used a wide variety of them. I've used MailChimp, MailerLite, ActiveCampaign, Aweber. I go across the board with all sorts of different email services. For my money, I've used ActiveCampaign. I really enjoy that, although they are sort of ticking me off in different things that I'm doing very specifically with them. And I'm testing out Aweber a little bit harder for my personal stuff. As far as using email service providers like that for mass marketing emails, it doesn't matter which one you pick. Pick one and stick with it for a while, because if you bounce from email provider to email provider like that for marketing emails, that's what spammers do. And you are automatically kicking off a problem in Gmail's algorithm, because they go, oh, you were emailing from over here before, and now you're emailing from over here. We're going to monitor you a little bit more closely to make sure you're not a spammer. So depending on what you want to do and want to accomplish, MailChimp is great for people that don't have a massive budget for email marketing and they don't have a very huge list. I think you can use it for free up to 2,000 emails, I think, for MailChimp. It's fine, but it's not as robust as some of the other ones, okay? ActiveCampaign, I think, is fairly affordable for what it is that it offers. It is also one of the only email systems that is actually still just email. Infusionsoft, unless you're a massive corporation, I think is a giant waste of time for most small businesses, because it's a jack of all trades when it comes to a lot of what it offers, but it's no longer a master of anything because it does so much. That's a personal opinion that has got nothing to do. If you use Infusionsoft, I'm sorry, it is a very complicated piece of software that I've definitely used, and I don't enjoy it when I have to for clients. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I think you got it. That was what that was getting at. Any other questions? Anybody else have a question? If you do, just open up your mic. Don't go ahead, Mako.
Are you a big fan of videos in emails, Bobbie?
Yes, and one of the reasons, now not in everything, but I like videos because as humans, we're multi-channeled in the way that we get information. All right. So text is all about the visual and you read it and you know, for people like me, we hear it. Video is another way to increase the amount of different channels that you get information. So it's, you know, it's visual, it's also audio. Now, if you embed the video in your email, just know that that's going to not necessarily raise a red flag, but it's going to be something where they go, oh, here's something that is different from what they normally send, or it's not what you would send your, you know, your best friend when you send an email. Okay. The other way that I like is, especially if you're doing YouTube, I would host the YouTube video on your website. That way your website gets the traffic and not YouTube gets the click. Now YouTube will get it because you have it there, but your website is what actually benefits from having that connection. So you can embed it directly in the email. It works. I wouldn't do all of them just because you're going to have some algorithm issues. The other problem that you have with embedding a video in is the end user's computer system. If it's not fast enough to be able to render that video properly, your email is going to load slow and be slow for them when they try to open it up, just because there's some other issues there.
Okay. Any other questions? We still got a little bit of time here. What about, by the way, let me ask this question while somebody else is thinking. There was a company that came on board with video emails called BombBomb. You probably heard of them. Is that something that's still around, and do people use that for videos?
I think that was great English. I think they are still around. And remind me, that's the one where you can do like that personalized, like it's a picture where you hold it like a whiteboard and you can adjust and change the information that's on the whiteboard.
Yeah, they actually host videos, so it's not just like putting a YouTube video up. You can, you know, record your video, and it's integrated into their email. So it's kind of like MailChimp. I don't even know how robust it is at this point because I was familiar with it probably 5 years ago.
The big problem that I have that is with that is there's more code that goes into the email when you're hosting something directly into the email like that. Okay. Ugly works. I promise you it does, right? Just regular white background, black text, large enough to read in single lines is easier for people to understand, and it will convert better every time instead of the pretty formatted email templates that are out there that you can use with all of that extra coding. All that extra coding is a giant red flag that you are coming from a business and you will be scrutinized more. Okay, so is it still around? Quite possibly. Can you use those emails? You sure can. Just be aware what you're doing is you are automatically alerting the end algorithms that you are a business and they need to monitor you a little bit harder for the promotions to see if you're going to end up in the promotions tab. Doesn't mean that you won't all the time, because if your engagement is really high, if you've got a 35% open rate, and I have that for many of my clients, if you've got a 35% open rate of your emails, you can put darn near anything into the email and it's going to show up in the inbox every time.
Cool. Randy, did you have something?
Yeah, just a quick question. Thanks, Bobbie. In the earlier part of the presentation, you were talking about sending these test emails, and you were speaking almost exclusively about using Gmail. What if your primary email vehicle is Outlook? Do these things work equally as well?
Again, because Gmail has the majority of the market share, that if it works for Gmail and you can get in the inbox, it will work for Outlook. Now, they do have different algorithms. Here's the thing, just because you use Outlook doesn't mean that your end consumer does. Okay. And that's really what's important, is not that it shows up in your inbox, because you're always going to click on your emails when you send it to them, right? You want to make sure that it shows up in your end user's inbox and that it's important for, you know, that it's valuable to them. That's really the number one problem that businesses get, is they don't speak to their customers. They speak at their customers and say, it's all about me. It's all about me. Look at my business. Look what we did. I've been in business for 35 years. We just won this amazing award for servicing our customers. It's all about them and what they're doing. Okay. Big fat no, because customers don't really give a crap, right? They don't care. Who do customers care about? The same thing that everybody else cares about. They care about themselves. Okay. So it's very similar to this. Because you use Outlook doesn't mean they do. In fact, they almost exclusively don't. Now, if you're doing business to business and that's exclusively your end customer, you might, but even still, there's a lot of business emails, mine included. My business email is actually hosted through Google, which means it uses Google's algorithms and Gmail's algorithms. So they really do have the largest market share. So can you do it with Outlook? Absolutely. You will get better results across the board if you do it with Gmail, though, because of the end user experience.
Okay. Dick, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm on highest security on emails, and I get probably 150 emails a day. So I contribute to the low open rate. There's probably some that I'd like to read, but I only have so much time, so I, only open the ones that are highly relevant to me.
Yep. And you are the majority of the world, really, right? I have so many emails and I follow everybody, but so I get somewhere upwards of about usually 1,000 emails a day across all the emails that I have. I intentionally go after all those emails because I want to see what's going on out there. But even in my personal inbox, don't open every email. I open the ones that are relevant to me. I open the ones that intrigue me. I open the ones from companies or people that I really want to know about and I want to hear from. There are 2 copywriters that email every day, and I open every single email that they send because they're interesting and they keep me engaged in the way that their emails are written. I've got one company that I will open every time because usually I'm really interested in what they have to sell me because I have bought way too much stuff from them, right? And then obviously anybody that's from my family, right? That's really the key. Can you send emails that sound like you're talking to your brother or you're talking to your buddy sitting at the bar, right? If that's how you can make your email sound for your customers, your clients, and your prospects, and everybody else that's interested in reading your emails, you're going to increase the open rates because you really hit the key. You really hit the nail on the head. Is it relevant and engaging to you? If it's not, you're never going to open the email. And so you don't contribute to the low open rates. Boring emails contribute to the low open rates that you don't want to read.
Great. Anybody else? Got about 3 or 4 more minutes, so I can take another question if anybody else has any more questions about email.
I'm going to put my contact information in the chat and re-put that link in the chat as well. If you guys have any questions about emails or you'd like to do a one-on-one with me, I am happy to do so. Just remind me where I met you, on this, and I'd be super excited to talk with you guys more about email, answer any questions that you have. Email is a passion of mine. Getting rid of slimy sales tactics is another passion of mine because I don't like it when they happen to me, and so I don't teach people how to do slimy stuff.
Great. Well, we appreciate that. Dick, did you have another one or did you just
Yeah, I just wanted to ask your perceptions on LinkedIn versus email.
Ooh, great one. Give me 30 seconds. Let me finish. Okay, there we go. Contact information is in the chat. So LinkedIn direct mail versus email.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, LinkedIn direct mail is interesting because you're guaranteed to get put into what they've got. But the same principles apply to the direct mail as it does to regular email. If you start the communication off with, I'm amazing, I found this really small problem on your website and I can fix that. No, Like people aren't going to do that. Or, hey, we have like 800 people in common. Why don't we connect? Because I want to sell you something. No, also not going to work. Okay. But that direct in contact LinkedIn mail works well because it is guaranteed to show up. You still have to use the principles properly. Now, I like to get people off of somebody else's platform and into something I control as fast as possible, right? I do the same thing on Facebook. Facebook controls the data in the back end. So does LinkedIn. It controls all the data on the back end. If LinkedIn and Facebook decided today that Bobbie Maloy conversion hacker is a schmuck and we're going to shut her down, I still have my contact information. I still have the contact information for all of my people because I own my email list. It is the number one thing that you actually own in any marketing, right? Platforms, whatever platform you're on, they own all of that stuff and they can change the rules in a heartbeat, and they have, and they shut people down. And then you've lost all of your customer resource points and everything like that. So if you keep it exclusively in LinkedIn and LinkedIn changes the rules, you don't have access to that data because you don't own it. So I like to get people into an asset that I own, which is my email list. It's the only asset I do own as far as marketing is concerned. And that's why. Did that answer your question?
Yep. That was great. All right. Well, let's give Bobbie a hand. That was awesome. Really, really, really excellent. Want to make sure that everybody knows again that we do this every Friday. And let me see, who do we have slotted for the next Friday? And for those that are regulars at our Wednesday meeting, remember we do meet in the room and on Zoom. So next Friday we have, this is the 23rd, so next Friday be the 30th. Wow, the day before Halloween. So next Friday, Jeff Weaver will be joining us, and he'll be talking about post-pandemic marketing hacks. So encourage you to be there. It's always interesting. And again, Bobbie's offer there for some email templates. Those are always handy to work from as you use them as a framework, as she said. And that's a beautiful thing.